Çok değerli yine konuşmacılarımız var. Onları davet edeceğim hemen moderatörümüzün yanına. Green Iceberg firmasından Sayın Lars Berg. Optimal firmasından Sayın Howard Warren. AMOF-FJELL firmasından Sayın Jan Terje Soens-Taboe ve ScaleAQ firmasını temsilen OctoAqua'dan Sayın Cebil Şen. Cebil Bey, hoş geldiniz, buyurun. Efendim sözü moderatörümüz Sayın Hilal Tolasa Gündoğdu'ya bırakıyorum. Kolaylıklar diliyorum, buyursunlar.
Sayın katılımcılarımız, değerli konuklarımız, tekrar hoş geldiniz demek istiyorum öğleden sonraki bölümlerimize. Ben Hilal Tolasa Gündoğdu, OctoAqua firmasının Operasyon Direktörü, aynı zamanda ortağıyım. Üçüncü panelde yine sizin dikkatini çekeceğini düşündüğümüz çok önemli konular üzerinde, önemli başlıklar üzerinde bilgilendirme yapmak istiyoruz. Evet, hepimizin de bildiği gibi balık yetiştiriciliği hedefimiz yalnızca daha çok balık yetiştirmek değil, daha doğru, daha sağlıklı, daha duyarlı ve daha verimli yetiştiricilik yapmak istiyoruz, üretim yapmak istiyoruz. Bugün dünyasında çevreye saygılı, iklim dostu, döngüsel ekonomiye destekleyen uygulamalar yalnızca bir tercih değil artık. Bir mecburiyet, aynı zamanda uluslararası pazarda güven ve rekabet avantajı sağlayan bir zorunluluk haline gelmiştir. Dolayısıyla hedefimiz doğal kaynaklarımızı koruyan, enerji verimliliği odaklı çalışan, aynı zamanda yüksek ekonomik değer üreten üretim modellerini oluşturmak. Bu doğrultuda firmalarımızla birlikte açık deniz operasyonlarından hasat sürecine kadar, atık yönetiminden soğuk zincirden ihracat pazarlarına kadar uzanan bütüncül bir ekonomik, bütüncül bir üretim ekosistemini konuşmamız gerekiyor. Üretim zincirinin her halkası sürdürülebilirliğin ve rekabetçiliğin ayrılmaz bir parçası. Biz bu panelde, bu sektörde önde gelen teknoloji sağlayıcılarımızla birlikte bu sorulara yanıt arayacağız. Evet, şimdi AMOF-FJELL firmamızdan başlamak istiyorum. Balık yetiştirme sürecinde ortaya çıkan organik atıkların yeniden kullanımı konusunda geliştirdikleri teknolojilerle döngüsel ekonomiye öncülük ediyorlar. Sayın Jan Terje Soens-Taboe, öncelikle firmanızın hakkında biraz bilgi vermenizi rica edeceğim.
Hello, thank you, Hilal. Thank you, Hilal. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting us. As you know, as Hilal said, we are coming from Norway, and been working with waste in both aquaculture and also the fishery industry and many other industries actually for many decades. As I said, we are a company. We have been working with this industry for 120 years. And we started actually in a fish oil factory when there was herring in the North Sea and producing fish oil from herring. And from that we developed technology and equipment, and over the years we became one of the biggest and largest rendering technology suppliers in the world. And at one time we were called then Stolt Barts, and after that it has been a little bit of change in the scenery. But what we try to do is to give value to our customer, to be a partner, and starting early to involve in his project. Maybe we will not have any influence in the project in the beginning, but if we think in the start we will also have waste, we will also have some kind of materials that we need to take care of. It's very important to have that with him. In our world, we are a small company today, We are located in outside Bergen, and we are working very closely with our local partners. And that is very important for us to achieve your goodwill and also the support that you need throughout the lifetime of the projects. And also the equipment and the solutions that you invest in, because it's expensive. Our activity is based on the UN goals: sustainability, circular economy, and also the blue economy. Everything we do from a technology perspective is related to how we can utilize as much as possible of the waste and resources that we have. Our main market segment is fishing vessels, is one of them. We have byproduct plants on board the biggest fishing vessels. We have been delivering fish meal and fish oil plants for fishing vessels built in Turkey for a decade. They have been built down in close to Istanbul, like Tarsan. And we are also involved with more advanced fish meal and fish oil processes. On land, we have been a consultant for KOBLR Group for some years when it comes to energy recovery and how to utilize some of the energy surpluses. We are nowadays, of course, involved with more advanced processes when it comes to utilization of the byproducts to get a higher value and to utilize more of the special amino acids and also the proteins. And then it's, of course, from the sludge industry we are working with. Should I continue, Hilal?
Yeah, can I ask my second questions? Just information about atık, organik atıkların yeniden kullanımı. Balık yetişim sürecinde ve işleme operasyonlarından çıkan organik atıkların yeniden kullanımı ve tüm bu süreçteki atık dönüşümü hakkında bilgi verebilir misiniz? Örnek projelerle birlikte lütfen.
Okay, I will try. As we have been speaking about today, there are a lot of you that has mentioned these things. The world is growing when it comes to population. The environment is challenging. The soil and the land for agriculture is decreasing. The climate is getting drier, and we are facing a lot of issues and changes. One of the things that we know is that the earth for production, the agriculture, the soil we are losing each year is the size of the Cyprus. And that gives us also a challenge when it comes to what do we grow our products in. And in the future, do we have good soil for production of our agriculture thing? So from our side, we are looking at both the end where you have the offal from the fish and the fish processing, and we have also the offal in the other end when it comes to the feces and the fish feed spill. This reduction we all need to utilize. We need to look at what can we gain on all of the fish, not only the main fillets or the tissue, the proteins that you have in the fish, the meat, so to say. So what we do is that we take care of all the fish, and we see now that that making processes that utilize all of this is beneficial not only for the world but also for the owner of the fish and the fish farmer. Because if you think that you have 30,000 tons of fish biomass this biomass also need 45,000 tons of feed if you have a feed factor of 1.5. And in addition, you then spend a lot of energy, your efforts and everything, and you then deliver the fish for processing, and 50% of it is waste if you fillet it. So what do we do with this? And what we heard earlier from is that EPA and DHA, all these things that we actually need when we grow, and also the fish and the animals as a feed product needs these things. So what we say, you become what you eat. That is also the same with the fish and the animals. So utilizing the fish, the offal from the salmon, from the Turkish salmon, in taking out the oil, taking out the proteins, making maybe some other kind of higher nutritions, that will be very beneficial, not only for us as a fish farmer, but also for the world. So these things is what we are doing on a daily basis. What we have seen now over the last weeks is that also the blood has a very high value itself. So now there are tablets being exported from Norway, from the salmon industry, to Korea, and they are selling it like a healthcare product. So there are a lot of opportunities. Of course, these things require investments, and it's not cheap. Of course, the smaller the ground, the higher cost. But if you can gather it, you can work together. You can find some kind of logistics around these things that will have it fresh and have it on a high quality level, all the way from the fish ponds until the slaughtery and also further on to the bioprocessing. That will give you the high value proteins, so less FFA, which is very important. So taking care of the byproducts in the same way as you do with the fish itself and the fillets and the meat, that's very, very important. And I see, of course, that you have a challenge because of the short season. So how can we extend the production during a longer season? That can also be beneficial when it comes to the capex and the opex part. And as I say, ship in, ship out. Keep high quality all the way, and you will get high quality also on the byproducts. This is typically, if you have not done it before, you start with a fish meal or a fish oil plant. This is very basic, and it's very important that this is done when the fish is as fresh as possible. So if you can do this just a couple of hours after you have slaughtered the fish, the product will also be of a very high quality. It will be stabilized, sanitized, and you will have a product that you can store for further development. And the cost and the price now, what we see, especially on the oil, has increased very much just over the last 10 years. So nowadays you will get a price maybe 2.5 euros a liter for the oil, which is very high and good additional to what you are already doing with the fish. You will have small plants, big plants. The setup is quite similar, and of course the higher volume, the higher cost, but also a lower capex per production unit. I just go quickly through these things. But on a vessel or in a small land-based plant, we can start with 50 tons, which is possible start for handling a good product. what we see is that if you have this close to the fish catching or the fish slaughtering, the quality is extremely high, and it goes very often directly from the fishing vessel or from the slaughtering house at the land to the producers of human food. I will continue a little bit with what we have also heard about today. Of course, if we take a fish, and as you say, God meant to have fish in the waters, and the fish will not pollute the waters. But if you put too much fish in the water, it might be some kind of influence on the waters and also on the seabeds and also on the conditions, because you have a very high nutrition factor from the feed and the feces going into the water. And what we see in Norway is that the pollution of the fjords due to the fish farming is now a very challenging thing. It's heavy metals and also a lot of phosphorus going into the waters. And currently we are working a lot to maybe catch some of these sludge to get it back to the circular economy, so to say. But it's a challenge, and in the open waters you have here, it's not the first thing that you will think about. But if we are talking about Iceland now, I was in Iceland for 3 weeks ago looking at the new big fish farming facilities that are planned to be on there. They have very high circulation in the closed waters. The shore is very, very clean. They can put a lot of things into the waters. But what is happening now is that the consumer, the buyer in the end of the fish products in the retail store, he says, how about the carbon footprint of the fish? I need to know how the environment is taken care of. I need to know how the fish is treated, what the welfare is, and so on. So, even though the scientists, even though we as technology providers or fish farmers say that we don't pollute, we don't do anything towards the environment, but we see that the consumers themselves, they say that you need to take care of the environment. And last week I was in Ireland. That was not a fish farming, it was a blue whiting facility. They are focusing on the carbon footprint. It's very important for them, because if they don't take care of that, they will have big problems to sell the products to the market. So having a high focus on these things and give them a balance when it comes to both the energy, the climate and the carbon footprint when it comes to logistics and everything, it's very important, and the consumer, they are asking for this kind of information. Yeah. So making circular economy out of both the fish and the fish process, making circular economy also on the sludge side, should be very beneficial and will have a positive influence on the market itself, what we see. Currently we are also working in Korea, and they have the same issues there, even though they are the biggest seafood eaters or consumers on each capita. We see that they have a long way, because they have no legislations around these things that allows them to do anything about the waste. So legislations and work together is very important. Maybe I should just go through a little bit more. Just to show you some of the ways that we are doing it, especially on the RAS system, it's easy to collect the sludge and the feces. We are working with big plants like 5, 6, 8, 10, 20,000 tons of biomass, and of course the amount of sludge is huge. And if you see those volumes going out of HEMA on Rjukan, which is a 10,000 ton biomass plant, we are talking about 50,000 to 60,000 tons each week of dry sludge. And then it's 90% dry. So the logistics and the handling of these things is important. This is the facility on HEMA. We are dewatering it all the way after the ponds and bringing out to 95% dry matter. And this is a trout plant, and it's all the way in the fresh water. So we have actually freshwater sludge, and it goes to fertilizer. And we export actually now fish sludge from Norway to Vietnam, because what I said initially, the lack of soil in the rice fields, they need to add soil to these fields, and then we export fish sludge to them, and they put it on the rice fields. In Træna, we have a different challenge. It's a salt, it's a post-smolt facility, and we have salt in the sludge. In order to utilize this, we make energy. So we actually burn the dried sludge, and we get a positive energy or a net balance of energy in the facility. And this is located very far away from the Norwegian coastline, so it's a small island. And we have a shortage of power, and then they utilize the sludge as energy. And they use the energy for drying, and they use the energy for heating up the ponds to increase the growing rate of the fish. And also they are talking about now using the heat energy to cool down the ponds, because they also need cooling when it comes to RAS systems. Yeah. So by working with us, I hope that we can commonly gain something in the future, not maybe tomorrow, but next week, which will be beneficial for all of us.
Evet, çok teşekkür ediyorum. Döngüsel ekonomi sadece çevresel değil, aynı zamanda ekonomik bir değer de yaratıyor. AMOF-FJELL yaptığı çalışmalarla birçok ülkede atıkların bir değere dönüşmesiyle ilgili fayda sağlıyor firmalarımıza. Bizler de bu yolda ilerlemeliyiz diye düşünüyoruz. O yüzden tanıtmak istedik sizlere. Şimdi diğer firmama geçmek istiyorum. Çok teşekkür ediyorum burada kendisine. Optima firmasından Sayın Howard bizimle birlikte. Öncelikle firmanız ve yapmış olduğunuz projelerle ilgili biraz bilgi verir misiniz?
Yes. Dear colleagues, honor just yes, this was very close. My name is Howard. I come from Optima in Norway. Working together with OctoAqua. So I'm going to say a little bit about Optima. I'm starting off with the film.
helt siden 1978 har vi stått side om side med kundene våre for å utvikle løsninger som gjør at arbeidshverdagen deres flyter bedre. Vi har lært at små detaljer kan gjøre stor forskjell for både folk og fisk. Derfor slutter vi aldri å se etter nye måter å gjøre ting på. Det begynte med å automatisere, nå skal vi perfeksjonere. Optimalt gjør sjømatindustrien og alle som lever den bedre. Vi er for folka, fisken og fremtiden.
So OctoAqua is a leading provider of technology and solutions for the seafood handling and processing on board, onshore, and in aquaculture. We have our headquarters in Norway, and we have an office in Canada, one in USA, one in Spain, and in Romania. With our new Icelandic owners, we also have an office now in Iceland. We're about 260 employees. I can take over, thanks. Okay. Yeah. So we have a little bit more than 260 employees. We are very proud to say that we have completed 1,500 factories worldwide. And we are even more proud to say that with our electrical stunner, we have now passed 1 billion fish stunned. That means that 1 million fish has had a more pleasant death than the other fish. So that's quite a contribution to the business and to the to the animals. Our vision is fish handling with care, and this has several layers on it. Our main focus is fish welfare. The fish is what we process, so that needs to be our main focus. So humane and stress-free handling. Harvest efficiency is also very important. And food safety and quality, also very important. And I'm going to go a little bit in depth on this. So, the reason behind the focus on fish welfare is that it's a moral choice. We have to have the respect for the animals. We are going to eat them, so a little bit of respect can be in place. It's very important to maintain optimum fish health and fight diseases and reduce stress. And we have to reduce and prevent fish mortality and increase the share of useful fish. This is all about having proteins on the table to the world. I mean, it's more and more important. Better quality of the fish and improved food standards. Harvesting efficiency is more important than you should think, because the more efficient your plant is, the more efficient your processing is, the less suffering the fish have, and then you have better quality of the fish. But also, it requires less people, and maybe fewer vessels. We have several good examples in Norway that we make a vessel where the customer maybe is planning to buy 2 vessels. Then instead we can increase the efficiency on the first vessel, and then we can drop the second one. That is fewer people, less money invested, less fuel you spend. So, or you can turn it another way and say that smaller vessels are the way to go. Smaller vessels with big capacity, good mix. And efficiency leads to cost-effective operations, also operational safety, and that is something that is quite relevant in the Black Sea as well. If you have good capacity on the vessels, especially if you are in the, maybe you could expect bad weather, or maybe the water is getting warmer, so you have you're short of time to get the harvest in. And the third item on the focus list was the food safety and quality. We think it's very important to handle the fish gentle. You preserve the freshness and the taste. And by designing the products and the systems correctly, we minimize the physical damage to the fish. And we also maintain optimal hygiene throughout the processing. Also, we can ensure traceability from sea to market, and our systems are in compliance with the strictest international standards. Since we started developing products and solutions in 1978, we have created quite a few products and quite a few systems. And I'm not going to go into depth in any of these today, other than the stun and bleed, which is very relevant for this region. But we have very advanced freezer systems, cooling systems, and also dead fish handling and ensilage, which somebody appreciates. So we're looking a little bit more on the stun and bleed systems now. Yeah. So in Norway, some years ago we started to use stun and bleed vessels for harvesting of fish. This is a much better solution than the wellboats, because you have a smaller vessel with smaller footprint and high capacity. This vessel produces 80 to 100 tons of fish per hour. And I'm going to explain a little bit. You can see there are 4 persons that is required to produce these 100 tons per hour. And you can see that if you pump the fish into a pool, fish swims into the electric stunner and lays still, and after that we are cutting the gills with a robot. And once the fish is cut, it will bleed from the gills, and we drop the fish into a tank of cold water, where we cool the fish down and it bleeds out properly. So you can see the red line in the back, that's where we scan the fish. And I know this will answer some of your questions, Hilal. So we scan the fish in order to find out where to cut it. We need to find a precise point of cutting every time. But we don't only harvest fish, we also harvest data, because in the red line that you just saw, there is we scan the fish, so that means that we can count it. We can also make a 3D model of every fish, and from that model we get a weight, and the weight can tell us the total weight distribution, how many fish, and this can be streamed to the sales office immediately. This is a very advanced vessel. It's built in Norway, only Norwegian sub-suppliers, and it's a hybrid vessel. so it runs on battery and on the engines. And when they do the harvesting operation, it's running solely on batteries, so it's very quiet. In the vessel you could see that we had a factory in-house. In Turkey that might not be necessary. It's a bit colder in Norway. And but then we started to make containerized solutions. So and that could be wise for several reasons, but we have had a great success with these. So this one is for a vessel. But we even managed to package a complete stun and bleed line into a truck. This is for a Danish provider, no, Danish producer of fish, and they started using this just after Easter, and it completely changed the business. Earlier they had to really work to sell their fish. Now the quality has been so much improved that now the customers want more fish, more than they can deliver. So we designed these containers with strength elements on the outside. So inside is very clean, straight, with no difficulties in terms of for cleaning. We have cleaning systems, easy to clean the whole factory. So.
May I ask?
Yes, now you may ask.
Evet. Şimdi you can use your headphones. Okay. Şimdi gördüğünüz kadarıyla hem hasat botlarında hem de kara tesislerinde uygulamalarla hem balık refahını hem de üretim yöntemleriyle balık kalitesini arttırdığını görüyoruz. Türkiye'deki yöntemlerle, geleneksel yöntemlerle kıyaslarsak balık refahı ve ürün kalitesinde nasıl bir iyileştirme yapıyor ve bizde gördüğünüz sorunlarla ilgili biraz yorumlarınızı alabilir miyiz?
Yeah, so the conditions in Turkey is not very like in Norway, because in Norway we have all the factories just next to the sea. So a boat can harvest fish, go to the slaughterhouse and deliver directly. In Turkey, there's another step. So you have to transport the fish by car, and that's a different challenge. And it's manageable, but it's not an advantage. So I've been speaking with the chamber here, both in Oslo and here today, and recommend maybe in Zolbelok area they could facilitate building of factories in the seaside. It would be a great advantage. But anyway, our knowledge that we have accumulated over the last decades of working with harvesting in Norway makes it easy for us to come here and start working in close cooperation with the customers with the good help from the OctoAqua team. So we can adapt to the changes that we need to in order to make good systems in Turkey as well.
Geleneksel yöntemlerle balığın kalitesine zarar veriyoruz. Rekabet gücümüzü de azaltıyor bu. Bu sebeple artık otomasyona geçiş, özellikle gösterdiğiniz otomasyon sistemlerine geçiş bir tercih değil, bir gereklilik gibi gözüküyor. Bu aynı zamanda iş gücü verimliliği ve operasyon sürelerini de nasıl bir fark yaratıyor kalite artışında olduğu gibi. genel olarak hasat sürecinde otomasyonun, robotlar, akıllı sistemler, bunların rolü ne olacak?
Yes, there are many aspects. First of all, we have learned to know that access to personnel that can help the producers in the harvesting season is more and more difficult. And they have to rely on personnel that is not trained. Also, the methods that most of them use today is not good in terms of quality, because they don't bleed out the fish, and if you don't bleed out the fish, you will bad quality on the meat. Also, we see that temperature control is very, very important, and in Turkey it's much more difficult to maintain the correct temperature throughout the process. But the systems can definitely, and the way we build the systems can definitely help with this. I also want to mention that the humane killing that we are building in the systems, when we build it into solutions, it's not depending on whether people are trained or not. The system takes care of the method, and that's also an advantage of the systems.
Aynı zamanda sıcaklık kontrolü de anladığım kadarıyla belli bir seviyenin üstüne çıkmaması için çok önemli. Dolayısıyla sistemde bunu da sağlayabiliyoruz sanırım.
No, that's how we designed the whole operation. Yeah. Of course, we have to build in cooling systems, but this is a thing that we have to use the knowledge to make sure.
Peki bunun komple bir sistem olduğunu anlıyoruz. Dolayısıyla ardışık olarak bütün bu parçaların birbirine bağlanarak kontrol altına alınması gerekiyor. Teşekkür ediyorum verdiğiniz bilgiler için. Başka söylemek istediğiniz bir şey var mı? Anlatmak istediğiniz.
No, I'm just looking forward to cooperating with the business that we already have established, and together with you, and maybe expanding to Zonguldak in the near future.
Teşekkür ediyoruz Optima firmamıza. Şimdi soğuk zincir verimliliği konusu da oldukça önemli. Bu konuda büyük katkı sağlayan sıvı buz teknolojileriyle dikkat çeken bir firmamız var. Green Iceberg firmasından Sayın Larsberg aramızda. Bize sıvı buz teknolojileri hakkında bilgi vermesini istiyoruz. Öncelikle firmanızı tanıtan bir kısa anlatım alabilir miyim? Firmanızı tanıtan kısa bir anlatım rica edeceğim.
Thank you very much, Hilal, and I greet you all. Thank you very much for letting us come in here and to be able to be your partner. We are very, very happy to cool down fish. So if you just have the
Around the world, families go to bed hungry every night. Because for many people, time is robbing them of their livelihood. In Indonesia, a fisherman hopes to have enough time to feed his family. A heavy block of ice, crushed by hand, is all he has to keep his catch chilled. Sometimes, he has to stay out on his boat for days to make his catch. He must hope that his ice will last long enough to get back to shore. If it melts before he can return, he must smoke the fish on deck to try to preserve as much as he can. Even so, there's still a lot of waste. This doesn't leave many fish to feed his family, let alone enough to sell to pay for his expenses. But what if there was a small, scalable device he could install on board that could turn seawater into a new form of ice on demand? He could stay out for as long as he needed to make his catch and be assured that his fish would stay fresh. Then he would have plenty of fish to sell and feed his family. it could lift him and millions like him out of poverty and provide the engine for economic growth. There is such a technology. It's called
Pico Ice.
Offers a new and better way to preserve food truly fresh many days longer than regular ice without freezing. In ordinary ice chips, tiny gaps allow warm air and bacteria to permeate the fish, causing it to spoil rapidly, often in a matter of hours.
Pico Ice
Creates microscopic ice particles so tiny that more than 250 of them could fit on the tip of a human hair. The soft, rounded corner and unique shape of the ice particles allow them to fit closely together, creating a barrier that prevents air and bacteria from seeping through. An estimated 12 million tons of fish goes to waste every year, primarily due to a lack of adequate refrigeration. That's enough fish to feed more than 300 million people for a year. 1 out of every 7 people on our planet goes hungry every day. That's equivalent to the entire population of the United States, Canada, and all of the European countries combined.
Pico Ice
Offers a new and better way to preserve food and reduce waste, be it fish, fowl, meat, or produce, providing the means to dramatically improve the living conditions for many people around the world.
Pico Ice
Machines are affordable, easily scalable, and replicable anywhere in the world. Time is running out to meet the challenges of sustaining our food supply, and reducing waste will help feed our planet.
Pico Ice
Can help meet and overcome these challenges by extending the time fresh food stays fresh.
Evet, sıvı buz diye tanımlıyoruz. Geleneksel buz ile karşılaştırıldığında sağladığı avantajları anlatmanızı rica edeceğim. Sıvı buz kullanımının soğutma süresini ve ürünün raf ömrünü nasıl etkilediğini anlatır mısınız bizlere?
I will do. Just a little bit of background. I've been working in refrigeration for 40 years. I grew up in a family where my father was engineer in frozen food technology from the 1950s. So you know, this is in my bone. And I was so lucky when I found this technology in Iceland about 5 years ago. It could really make freezing and cooling of food and fish to a station 2.0. So it's small units. It's very it's very easy to manage, and it's cooling big tanks and small tanks, as shown on the film, and it's in processing plants and in fishing vessels. The ice can be produced in different solutions, always with salt water. It's or brine if it's fresh water, in -1.5 up to -3 to -3.5 degree, depending on if it's for packaging or if it's for cooling down. So it's a direct cooling because of the very small crystals. So if you hold the ice in your hand, you can manage maybe 20 seconds. And then your cell in the hand will be done. It will be almost, you will lose your hand. And that means it's all cooling capacity in the ice will go into the fish. While on the flake ice or other methods, it has to melt. It's the melting water that actually is cooling the material or the animal. This also then means that it's a lot of cooling capacity in the ice. In regular ice, it's 1 kilocalorie per liter. We have up to 28 kilocalories per liter. And of course then we could cool down fish very much longer, very much faster. So if you can see the red curve here, we can cool down 5-6 kilo fish down to minus 0.7 in a little bit more than an hour. And we keep the temperature all the way long time, up to 5 days. And this also reflects the status of fish in pre-rigor and rigor. So we have obtained up to 5 days rigor when we took up the fish in Amsterdam. So it's improving the quality very much. You can see our ice is, the product is going down to 0.7 degrees C, while other product core will often have a temperature above 0. And of course, the cost to cool down a ton of fish cost us €2, while it will cost other methods up to €6. Because the energy cost we used is so very much smaller than what we are used to before. With this shelf life, it will, since the rigor phase is longer, the fish will stay longer, and it will improve the life or the product life of the fish, which is very unique. And in these days, that's why the guys we saw in Indonesia actually are losing so much of the fish because of the temperature. So Pico Ice is a unique product, a unique ice system, some we never, or you have never seen before. And because of the very fine crystals, you can see how this affects the fish. It's a cod after 14 days on the left side, and it looks like completely new, a new fish. It has an inner core temperature of minus 0.7, while the traditional cod has a rough surface and is not so attractive. Big difference. This also, we talk about sustainability in the fish industry, and we talk about CO2 footprint. One thing is the longer life of the fish before it's waste has a big impact on the CO2 footprint, but also because the fish has a colder core temperature, it's in the box like an accumulator, a cooling accumulator. And a lot of cooling capacity is in the fish. That means you will not need so much cooling to keep the fish in that condition. So our experience we have done with salmon is that instead of 4 or 5 kilo of ice in a 20 kilo box, we need 1.5. And the fish I mentioned that came to Amsterdam, it left with minus 0.9 degree, and it came down to Amsterdam at minus 1. It was colder in Amsterdam, but never freezing, because freezing on the fish, because of salinity of 0.8, is 1.5 minus. In the trucks and the cooling storage equipment, or transport equipment, we need a minus 1 or 0. The ice will not melt, but also there will be no drip loss, and there will be, at one of the challenges in Norway, that they have to lose 1 or 2 tons of water, melted water, on the way down to the German border. That's along the Norwegian roads, and it's blood and bacteria, and we eliminate that by using Pico Ice. we talk about the cold chain, and that's from fish is fished until it's on the table. And peak-wise, we work on the super fresh side. That means from 0 to -1.5. And when we can keep that all through the transport cycle or the logistics cycle or the cold chain, there will be a superior quality at the end. And we know there are challenges in transport and in air transport, but with this accumulator cool in the fish, we can easily sustain 10 hours with a higher air transport temperature. Also, when it comes to the CO2 footprint, we use only half the refrigerant charge, which has been an issue since CO2 since Freon was in the market. The power consumption is half or less, and as I said, with the long shelf life, it's a very much lower footprint or CO2 footprint than we have been used to these days. That was the cost of producing or cooling down the fish. As I said, it's superior to any other method. And even in today's world, where you have, in Turkey, we are now asked to produce systems that can work down to water 35 degrees. We are presenting that these days. It's not a problem. We can have the same capacity on the machine. However, there will be an additional cooling chiller to obtain the right temperatures. But 35 degrees C is not a problem for pig-wise. So what I hope is that this is an eye-opener, that you will think this might be a good idea for us. It can boost previous refrigeration equipment, because in today's world, where temperatures are rising, the global warming, sometimes most people say it's not good, but sometimes I'm smiling because it's good for pig-wise. So I thank you very much for the attention, and good luck in your decision making.
Evet, çok teşekkür ediyoruz. 2 slide öne gelebilir miyiz? Bir konu var sormak istediğim. Back. No, the other one. No, mesela. Okay. Taşıma ve depolamada sıvı buzun sağladığı avantajı biraz göstermenizi isteyecektim. 2 slide önce, slide değil mi? Kontrol. Yes. Yeah. There. Less ice and more fish diyoruz. Yani daha az buz, daha fazla balık box'ta. Yani biz bununla anladığım kadarıyla taşıma ve depolamada da sıvı buzun sağladığı avantajlarımız var. Can you hear that? Okay, I'm talking about less ice and more fish in the box for the market. The advantage of the transportation and the storage of the ice, your ice. Can you explain a little bit more this one? Because it's very important for the, how can I say, it's exports the fish and a long way to send it for the fish.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I mean, in the boxes it's much less. But if you start already from the fish in the boat into the tub, all the ice is so floating that the tub will be filled together with the fish when it's 1/3 at the bottom, and there will come no oxygen into the fish. That means let's start already preserving the fish at that stage. And what we are used to, or what you are used to in the tubs, is that there are temperature difference in the tubs at the bottom and at the top. With decoys, it's the same temperature. So we can keep through the full cold chain at same temperature if the decoys is used, because of these very small crystals.
Tabii Türkiye gibi sıcak iklimlerde aslında bu sistemin kritik bir faydası var. Yani hem taşımada, hem depolamada, hem de transportta bize ürün kalitesini korumada ciddi bir fayda sağlıyor. Dolayısıyla Green Iceberg'e bu konuda gelişimcilik ve teknoloji için teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Okay. Şimdi son bir firmamız var. Thank you very much. Tabii bu firmalar bizim OctoAqua olarak birlikte çalıştığımız partner firmalarımız. Bir firmamız daha var, ScaleAQ. Kendileri bugün burada bulunamadılar. ScaleAQ olarak bilgiyi bizim ekibimizden Cemil Bey'den rica ettim ki yaklaşık uzun bir süredir deneyime sahip olduğu için kendisi ScaleAQ'nun kendi ekibi kadar deneyimli ve bilgili bu konuda. Birazcık bize ScaleAQ'nun yemleme otomasyon sistemlerinden ve çalışmalarından bahsetmelerini istiyoruz.
Teşekkür ederim. Herkese merhaba, ismim Cemil. Bu firmada proje yöneticisi olarak çalışıyorum. Öncelikle firmamızın ve Scale'in uzun yıllardır işbirliğinden bahsetmek istiyorum. 2007 yılından beri birlikte Türkiye'de Aquaculture yetiştiriciliğinde rol alıyoruz. Bu süreçte özellikle açık deniz kafes yetiştiriciliğinde batch ve yemleme sistemlerinde otomatik yemleme sistemleri kuruyoruz. Bu sistemlerin avantajlarından bahsedeceğim. Eğer açık denizde bir kafesiniz varsa ve o kafesin içerisinde balık yetiştiriyorsanız bu süreci kontrol altına almak için bir ofise ihtiyacınız var. Bar sistemleri size bu ofis imkanı sunuyor. Biz de içerisine koyduğumuz yemleme sistemleriyle sizin üretiminizi takip edilebilir ve sürdürülebilir hale getiriyoruz. Burada bahsettiğimiz üretim metodu sadece balığın yemlenmesi değil, buradaki yemlemeyi kontrol altına almak için geliştirdiğimiz teknolojileri de kapsıyor. Burada tam donanımlı bir batch videosunu izleyeceğiz. Yemleme sistemi videosunu izleyeceğiz. ScaleAQ'nun en önemli özelliği yemleme yapılırken yeme değer vermesi. Çünkü bir noktada hepimiz aynı fikirdeyiz ki bu süreçte en büyük gider yem. Burada bizi öne çıkaran özelliğimiz yeme verdiğimiz değer. Yemi hasar görmeden kafeslere ulaştırmak için bir sistem tasarlıyoruz. Ve bu süreçte kafeslere yerleştirdiğimiz yem dağıtıcılarla balığın homojen ve sağlıklı bir şekilde yemlenmesini sağlıyoruz. Yüksek tonajlı kapasitelere sahip batch sistemleri size farklı boyutlarda yemlemek için imkan sağlıyor. Burada balığınızın boyut geçişlerini ya da farklı boyut yetiştiriciyi planladığınızda yeminizi kontrol etmeniz için aynı zamanda kayıt altınıza almak için ekstra bir imkan sunmuş oluyor. Tabi bu süreçte amaç sadece yemi kafese göndermek değil, yemin doğru miktarda kafese gittiğinden ve yemin yendiğinden emin olmamız gerekiyor. Bu noktada sektöre sunduğumuz çözümlerden biri de su altı izleme sistemleri. Kafeslerin içine yerleştirdiğimiz sensör ve kamera sistemleriyle balığın hareketlerini, balıkta meydana gelecek olan herhangi bir hastalığı ya da çevre parametreleri, ölçüm cihazlarından aldığımız verileri analiz ettiğimiz zaman balığın yemlenmesi için doğru zamanlı, yanlış zamanlı onların analizlerini yaptığımız sistemleri inşa ediyoruz. Bu sayede yemleme operasyonu yapılırken maksimum verimlilikte ve minimum kaynak tüketimiyle gerçekleştirilmiş oluyor. Bu da bize hedeflediğimiz çevresel yetiştiriciliği mümkün hale kılmış oluyor. Şimdi özetle bir açık deniz kafes yetiştiricinin ele aldığımızda burada üreticinin en büyük amacı maksimum kapasitede yüksek karlılıkta üretim yapmak. Ama tesis maksimum kapasiteye ulaştığı zaman karlılığı arttırmak için geriye döndüğümüzde verimliliği arttırmamız gerekiyor. Bu noktada var sistem ve yemleme sistemleri düşünüldüğünde bizi sadece yemleme operasyonundan değil, o tesisin bakım, onarım, lojistik personelin daha verimli kullanılması noktasında da bize imkanlar sunmuş oluyor. Bu şekilde bize verimliliğimizi ve karlılığımızı arttırabiliyoruz. Tabii şu ana kadar bahsettiğim sistem genel teknolojiyi değerlendirdiğimizde uzaktan kontrol edilebilen bir yemleme sistemi. Bunun bize avantajları her hava koşulunda yemleme yapabilmemizi sağlıyor. Yani sadece iyi havalarda değil, kötü havalarda da yemleme yapabiliyoruz. İşte, gelecek teknolojisini düşündüğümüzde sadece yemleme yapmamızda yetmiyor. Bu bilgiyi bir noktada analiz etmemiz gerekecek. Bu da bize Endüstri 5.0'ın kapılarını açıyor. Şimdi biz otomasyonu ve teknolojiyi doğru şekilde yetiştiriciliğe entegre ettiğimiz zaman ilerleyen yıllar sürecinde daha önceki panellerde de bahsettiğimiz gibi geriye dönük yaptığımız işlerin analizini ve kullanılan metotların doğruluğu hakkında bilgi sahibi olup önümüzdeki yılların da planını yapabilir hale geleceğiz. Bu noktada Scale IQ'nun bize sunmuş olduğu imkan, özellikle açık deniz yetiştiriciliğinde tam kapasiteli akıllı barj sistemleri sunuyor. Bu sistemlerin içerisinde ölü balığımızın değerlendirilmesinden tutun yemin az tüketilmesine kadar bir sürü imkan var. Şimdi biz bu noktada bunların hepsini değerlendirdiğimiz zaman zaten çevreci bir yetiştiriciliğin içine girmiş oluyoruz.
Yani bütüncül bir üretim ekosisteminden bahsediyoruz aslında. Açık deniz operasyonlarından hasat sürecine, atık yönetiminden soğuk zincir ve ihracat pazarlarına kadar uzanan bir sistem, ekosistem. Bu panele katılan iş ortaklarımız ile amacımız aslında Türkiye ve Norveç arasında bilgi, teknoloji ve yatırım işbirliklerini güçlendirmek. Türkiye'de aquaculture sektörünü geleceğe daha sağlam ve sürdürülebilir adımlarla taşımak. OctoAqua olarak misyonumuzda sektörümüzün ihtiyaç duyduğu teknolojileri doğru ortaklıklarla buluşturmak ve bu teknolojilerin uygulanmasına destek vermek. Ben panele katılan tüm katılımcı partnerlerimize teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Ve sizlere de bize dinlediğiniz için çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Evet, Sayın Başkan çok teşekkür ederiz. Kıymetli moderatörümüze ve konuşmacılarımıza bir ana fotoğrafı alalım. Sayın Gündoğdu, buyurun size. Evet, devam ediyoruz. Sonra yine az önce de ifade ettiğim gibi önemli bir konu. Tabii ki bu yatırımları yapabilmek için ihtiyacımız olan finansman desteği ki günümüzün çok önemli konularından bir tanesi. Hem kendi tarafımızda yani Türkiye'de hem de Norveç tarafındaki finansman kolaylıklarına ya da işte erişilebilirliğine bir başka deyişle bir sonraki oturumumuzda işleyeceğiz. Kıymetli moderatörümüze ve kıymetli konuşmacılarımıza çok teşekkür ediyoruz.